before we get started, we got 23 slides here, so there's a lot of information we want to share with you. So there's a lot of information we want to share with you. What we'd like to do is rather than everybody speaking at the same time, that we'll raise your hand, I'll come with the mic, and then you can ask your questions, and then we'll go on to the next individual. But let's get through a lot of the slides because some of your questions that you have may be answered. With that, Jenny, whenever you want to start.
Oh.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to adjust the thermostat. Let me let's see if I can do that. Okay, 2 mics.
One for Zoom and one for.
Okay, one for Zoom and one for the in-building microphone. Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jenny Smith. I am the executive director of the newly formed and almost completely approved by the federal government nonprofit entity, Towering Concerns. Unfortunately, we, like most of you, got hit with the government shutdown, and we're waiting for our paperwork to finish for the 501c3. But we are in application, which means that any donations that you make to us are tax deductible. As I said, I'm Jenny Smith. Towering Concerns is a grassroots effort that has formed in order to fight the project formerly known as the Kraken Loop, now called the North Anna Bristers Loop, which is a 77-mile power line project through Stafford County and adjacent counties. Now, we're focused on the Stafford County part of that, but we're also involved with Block Valley Link and some of the other projects that are out there as well. We're cooperating with those groups. We're a small group of individuals with need for more help, as I mentioned earlier. We really do need lots of help, especially people who are willing to speak at Board of Supervisors meetings, at Planning Commission meetings, or at town halls such as the one coming up on May the 7th. We have a sign-up sheet on this table, the table on my right, some of your left, in the back. If you're willing to be somebody who can stand up for even 30 seconds and just say, hey, I'm Jane Doe, and I am opposed to the Kraken Loop because it will affect my children at school. That is really, really valuable and important for us. So please go sign up that. In fact, and the reason that we know this is important is because 20 years ago, when Towering Concerns was first organized, it took quite a lot of effort and lots of human beings in order to stop that project and get that line undergrounded at that time. And key was having human beings in buildings and present in meetings and showing our united opposition. Our primary goal at this time is to educate the public about the North Anna Bristers transmission line. There's been some false information going around. We want to make sure that we're giving as the best information we can give out. So we're trying to make sure that we're educated on the project so that we can educate you as well, so that the information you share is also accurate. As part of that effort, we are speaking with HOAs. We're passing information on to HOAs. We've been speaking with the Board of Supervisors. We've gone and met with Delegate Carroll. We've met with Senator Durant. And we're working very hard with our legislators to try and keep them informed on the Kraken Loop. We've already found that at least in one case that I won't share details on in this meeting, but that Dominion was lying to our legislator about the Kraken Loop. So we want to make sure that we're able to get their ears and share information with them as well. We're working, as I said, we're working with the Board of Supervisors. Thus far, our Board of Supervisors has been 100% supportive of our effort to fight the Kraken Loop. So let me emphasize that. Our Board of Supervisors, our Planning Commission, and our state level delegates and senator have been fantastic. We cannot thank them enough for the way that they've worked with us. So hopefully, I realize that maybe not every effort in Stafford County have they always been supportive and helpful with, but on Kraken, fantastic. We really, really appreciate the support that we're getting from them. We're, as I mentioned, we're coordinating speakers to speak at the State Corporation Commission hearings in the future. So Albert is going to speak about the detailed process of how that works, but there's kind of 3 sets of meetings where we need people to attend. The first is town halls, like what we're about to have with Delegate Carol. That's something where she's organizing a group to come and speak to the county and to speak to the public about the Kraken Loop. The second is local government meetings, like planning commission meetings or board of supervisors meetings or meetings with Stafford County Public Schools. We'll need speakers to come and put butts in seats for those meetings. So please bring your children, especially those who are affected by the destruction of Rodney Thompson's softball field, or those who are going to be losing their tot lot in their neighborhood because of the Kraken, or Mountain View High School students who will be losing their track program to the Kraken. So please bring kids out, please bring parents out, come out to these meetings. The third level of meeting that we're going to need people to speak at is State Corporation Commission meetings. Now, after the Kraken Loop is filed with the State Corporation Commission, we will request, at our request, we have the right, according to the law, to request a public hearing be held within 20 days of that filing in Stafford County. So at that time, we will be able to address the State Corporation Committee about the effects of the Kraken Loop on us as individuals. And it will be essential to speak at that meeting. Essential, because the State Corporation Commission is who makes the decision. It's not the Board of Supervisors, it's not the Planning Commission, it's the State Corporation Commission. So that's the meeting. If you can only make one set of meetings, okay? Keep your eyes open and your ears peeled, right, or listening for the State Corporation Commission meeting. Now, we're expecting, Dominion is supposed to file with the State Corporation Commission in the third quarter of this year, which begins in June. So sometime between June, July, and August, we'll hear that the State Corporation Commission meeting has been, that they filed with the State Corporation Commission on the Kraken. And then that's the time when we're going to unload, right? That's when we're going to fire all 12 barrels, right? That's where we're going to let loose. So please be paying attention. If you're not on our email list, go to toweringconcerns.com and click join the email list and make sure you're on the email list so we can notify you of this essential meeting. Thanks, Tim. The Kraken Loop is a 120-foot wide permanent clear-cut corridor that is 77 miles. It will be the width almost of I-95, clear-cut right through Stafford County. And as I mentioned, it will destroy the tot lot. It will destroy Autumn Ridge Park. We will lose the track program at Mountain View High School. We will lose the softball field at Rodney Thompson Middle School. I live on a farm that's been in my family for 200 years. My family will personally lose 9 acres of trees to the Kraken that will never be recovered. And I know many of you are living next to the Kraken or near the Kraken, and you're afraid of the health effects, the EMF radiation that will come from the Kraken, the proven cancer risk, or at least the correlated cancer risk. I'm going to make sure I say it right. Tom over here, Tom King is our health committee chairperson, and he has written an excellent article about the effects of EMF radiation, especially on individuals. It's a fantastic article, very carefully and well-educatedly written. It's on our website, or if you want a copy of it, grab Tom. He'll be happy to email that to you, or we can send it out again. But the effects of the Kraken are devastating and permanent. The Kraken, at the very first meeting with Dominion, their representatives told us that the power lines would be 170 feet tall. That is enormous. And we've talked about the engineered fall distance, how that affects individuals, especially if you're close to the power lines, how dangerous they are. There are, despite what you're seeing on the website, at the very first Kraken meeting that was done online, some of you are aware of this, when Dominion announced the Kraken Loop project, One of the engineers slipped up and admitted that the Kraken Loop is actually 2 lines. It's going to be a 500 kilovolt line and a 230 kilovolt line passing through that 120-foot corridor. So there's going to be 730 kilovolts of electricity passing near our children, near our homes, and maybe near some businesses. This is going to, the Kraken Loop affects properties that were affected under some easements that began in the 60s, some as early as 1962, some as late as 1967. We have the history of that. It's very interesting. Actually, it all began because Stafford County did not get the nuclear power plant that is now at Lake Anna, is why we have the Kraken Loop easements on our property. So if you're interested in that history, I have written extensively on it. That information is also on our website in the forum. You'll see that link at the top of the page. And of course, the Kraken is a permanent change to the Stafford County landscape, and that's why we want to make sure that we are protecting Stafford County for future generations, that any change that we make in Stafford County is going to be beneficial and helpful to those that come after us. And that's all I have. Thank you all for coming out. This is a fantastic turnout. Thank you for sharing your Saturday with us.
First of all, thank you so much, Jenny, for all that information. And again, we want to thank you all for coming because this is a very important matter. My name is Andrei Vlad, and I'm Vice President of Towering Concerns. And I am a concerned citizen, and as you guys are, and we want to guide you through the all this information that we're going to share today. I'm going to take care of this particular slide, and I'm going to try to stay in between 3 minutes of time lapse at me right now. So first of all, we are talking about 2 lines, as Jenny was mentioning, that they're going to cross through Stafford County, but it's not going to serve Stafford County. Those lines are going up north, serving their needs. We are just the impacted people, and we're not happy about that. As Jenny was mentioning before, they're trying to use easements that they were purchased in the 60s for a different intention. They were supposed to, local government with another entity were supposed to build a nuclear power plant in the Aquia Harbor area. That plan moved to, as we know now, Lake Anna. The easements got left. The easements were purchased on farmland. There was no communities whatsoever in Stafford County where this Kraken Loop is gonna pass by. After so many years, the Dominion wants to reuse that, what we believed it was a abandoned easement, and they wanna have their right way of using it for 2 lines of tall, high-impact towers. Power lines with big towers. And this is not a joke. And when we were building this flyer, I was trying to show people that we're talking about 2 lines, as we have it in here, and everything needs to be clear, and everything needs to be out from this easement. And these easements are going through our neighborhoods, through our properties, through our schools. And we need to find ways of making this less impactful and have people protected. Irreversible land alteration, it's another topic that it's very important. We need to think about the building of those power lines, maintenance of the power lines. We're gonna have traffic, high traffic, big building, big trucks, and it's gonna be impactful for all of us. Our team were already checking the existing line that's coming to the Mountain View substation, which is now underground. And we already see that they're starting to put stakes, and they're doing some movement around that. What I can tell you, once they put their hands, their feet over the easement, nobody can stop Dominion to not being able to use it and reuse it and increase the actual easement in the future. So we're thinking about maybe 1 power line, 2 power lines. As we know, maybe in the future they're gonna build 3 power lines. As soon as they're gonna start using that easement, nobody can stop them. So we need to be careful with how we let people manage our land. We are not doing this alone. We do need people's support, and we need support from anybody. We need support to spread the word. We need support from specialists, as we had that on the last line. Yes, you can go further. On the first line here, on the next one, this visual blight and loss of Stafford County rural character. A bunch of people from here bought their house because they wanted to buy the house in a nice, quiet environment with no interventions from traffic, roads, or any other things that can impact. Those towers are gonna be huge. The easement is gonna be a straight cut through everybody's land, and they're not gonna care about safety, health, sound. I'm concerned because my house is very close to that line. We're concerned about going in the back of our yard, playing with the kids, and just listening to the humming that we're gonna have for the rest of our lives. And I think I'm gonna go to this slide, long-term land use restrictions. Once the easement is gonna be it's gonna have a different purpose. It's gonna have the purpose to serve that line. Nobody's gonna be allowed to do anything on that easement anymore. You're not even allowed to stay in that easement for safety concerns. That meaning no kids playing, no ATVs, no pools, no fire pits, nothing. So this is gonna be their land. It's on your land, but it's not gonna be. You're not gonna be able to use your land. And I have neighbors that they're gonna cut 3 acres of woods out of their property, right in the back of their house. Not to mention schools, farms. Jenny is gonna be highly impacted on that. We have another member that is gonna probably talk a little bit more about the risk of the EMFs. That's the electromagnetic frequency that it's meant to stay away from us. We went close to power lines, we went close to substations, and so we had that reader. And as soon as we went close to the power line or close to the substation, that reader starts to yell at us, saying, avoid. That means something. So we are very concerned about that. 9,300 homes within 3/4 of a mile. That means a lot. That means us going out and drink our coffee, instead of seeing the nice scenery of wooded areas, nice land, we're gonna see 2 straight, big power lines that they're gonna cut through our land. So our landscape is gonna change dramatically. So I hope we're gonna have all you guys' help in order to spread the word and make the authorities understand we are here and we are trying to protect ourselves. We're not against anything. We're just trying to protect our properties and protect our lives and protect our integrity. And with that being said, thank you so much. I'm gonna hand the microphone to my dear friend and colleague, Albert.
Good job, Dan.
Thank you, guys. I will get it.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Albert. I am the president of Towering Concerns. All right, we want to go a little into the SCC process. Sorry, could you go back real quick one? So these power lines, they're not even serving Stafford. They're not serving our community needs. They're serving other counties. They're serving the data center power needs in other counties like Loudoun, Manassas. And the sad thing about it, it's not even enough power. Over half of the data center projects have been delayed. So they're going to need more. This is not enough. They're not going to stop. Okay, this is the strategy of our, just an organization strategy, so you know where we stand. Our current actions and needs, just reach out to your neighbors, please. Get the word around. You'd be surprised how many people are just completely unaware, and these power lines are in their backyard. Build alliances. We want to coordinate with other groups. So if you're from Protect Stafford, thank you for being here. We want to coordinate with you all. We want to coordinate with everyone. We have Black Valley Link. We have people coming all the way from Culpeper and other counties to help us. We need your alliances. Most importantly, show up to the community meetings, the town halls and the SCC. These are needs. We need people to show up. We need people to speak. After the SCC files, we'll have 20 days as an organization to file a notice of participation. This gives Towering Concerns the opportunity to participate in the filing of the case. Our goal is to stop the north end of the Bristers through legal and grassroots efforts. If we can't stop it, we want to reroute or bury the line. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, the SCC process, how the decision is made. First, Dominion is going to be filing their formal application. This is going to be in July. Then there will be a discovery. The formal parties will cross-examine the data and request technical evidence. There will then be a public hearing where residents will be able to give formal testimony and share their personal community impacts. The final order is if the judge issues a decision, the judge will issue a decision to approve, deny, or modify the route. And modification or denial is what we're going for here. Your resident stories, they're not just complaints. They're the most powerful legal evidence that we have. We want to ensure that Stafford families have a standing to influence the outcome. So the Board of Supervisors has been great to us. They've got their own lawyer. I believe they're doing everything that they can. So there's going to be two routes that this organization is going to take. We're either going to be going into the SCC as an independent intervener, and independent organization, or we're going to be having a county partnership. Being as an independent organization, we will have to file that notice of participation. We'll be able to control our own witnesses and arguments, and we'll even be able to cross-examine Dominion experts. We'll have a guaranteed seat at the table regardless of county politics. With the county partnership, we act as a resource to Stafford County. We provide all the community data and we give that to the county. This leverages the county's budget and legal resources. The risk here is the loss of control if the county settles or compromises. This is as an independent organization. There's uncompromising advocacy. We control our witnesses, we control our legal arguments to protect our homes. We have direct confrontation. We can direct our own cross-examination of Dominion experts to uncover the truth. We have a guaranteed formal seating at the table that cannot be traded away for political favors. It's a strategy that's driven solely by the impact of our community and not tax revenue or regional politics. And as a resource to the county, testimony database, all of your testimonies would be given to them. It's also cost efficient. As long as we have aligning goals with the county, this is the best option to go with. And it also maintains any red lines as far as deadlines are concerned. Let's go on to the next one. We're good. Okay, so let's go on. Sorry, let's go on next. We don't want to do that one yet. Okay, so your voices are evidence. We need your personal stories. How are you being impacted by these power lines? We have a sheet over there called a speaker sheet. If you're willing to speak in front of the SCC, we really need your information, your phone number, your email address, and we will call you when the time is to come. And so this is where we're at right now. We're in the preparation phase. We're finalizing our resident database. We're meeting with county leaders. Once the day of filing happens, that's when, as a community, we take we're going to take a poll, whether we would file independently or with the county. And during the post-filing, we'll have a board vote on the SCC intervention. We have to do this within 20 days. And then we have our hearing, which is when we can mobilize the community for public witness of testimony and, if need be, file a notice of participation. Immediately, we would like some transparency with the county. We need to know what they're up to. Luckily, May 7th at Colonial Forge at 6:30 p.m., I believe, they're having a town hall. They just confirmed this today. And Dominion's going to be there. We're going to have the opportunity to speak, and I believe we're going to get some answers that we've been seeking. And I cannot stress this enough, just building our collective strength. Your testimonies matter. They're tangible evidence. We need you. We need people to join the front lines. We need more committee members, especially in the communications in the health sector. We could only do so much. We need your help. We need volunteers to join the committee and join us, please. And I'm going to hand this to Tom. He is our health expert. He's going to give you all a little information.
A boudoir. Thank you. We call those things. So much information. I'm so sorry about that. And I've got enough information to keep us here till 9 o'clock tonight. So I hope everybody brought a lunch. Not going to do that. I'm only going to take a couple of minutes, and then I'll spend 3 minutes doing a drum solo to see if anybody's still awake, and then I'll hand it off to the next person. Health. What I'm going to try and do, I don't know how Tim did this. He did this. He took a bunch of stuff that I gave him, and he bubbled it down to one slide. This would have been a 47-thing PowerPoint had I done it. I think he must work for Monarch Notes or Cliffs Notes or something. I don't know. I'm not sure what he does for a living. Anyway, so I'll start with the top. The World Health Organization monograph stated that and I'm using medical terms, not the terms that the electricians use. They call it transmission line. But if you use the word transmission when you're doing a medical research, you're going to get 1,001 things about viruses and nothing about power lines. So I have to use this term. And if anybody wants to do that, use this term or you'll be off on some weird tangent about COVID. They called it possibly carcinogenic. And after that, and excuse me for referring to my notes, and you'll see why in a minute. After that, the Committee on Emerging and Newly Identified Health Risk, I had to read that, came out with the same warning. That's a European agency, the World Health Organization, big guys in the European agency came out. Possibly carcinogenic. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to give you guys a little way to remember things and 2 vocabulary words. Okay, and that's all you're going to need. And I'm hoping that you're going to go and pull up the article that I wrote. It's 17 pages. I'm sorry about that. I worked with my editor, my lovely wife, and we pared it down as much as we could, but that's where we stopped it, and it's only a tip of the iceberg. But you're going to hear a lot of people talking about health, and besides us, but here's all you need to gird yourself with the weapons that you need to sort it all out. The first word is epidemiology, and the second word is biomarker. Sounds like big words. They're just words. Anybody can know what they mean. I have a niece that's an epidemiologist, and she would be really upset with me if I boiled it down for her like I boiled it down for you. But for right now, we're going to use the cigarette history. We all lived through the cigarette history. Cigarettes are bad for you. Cigarettes are bad for you. Your doctor told you, everybody told you, but it was still being advertised on television. Nobody could tell you that it did anything except we think it does. Because we're counting the people with lung cancer and emphysema and all that stuff who smoke, and their numbers are up here, and people that don't smoke have other numbers over there. That's epidemiology. That's really all there is to it. It's counting. How does this disease or these things behave? And that's most of what you're going to see in the literature, and certainly in my paper, because that's all anybody's done. They don't know what else to do, except now recently they're starting to stumble accidentally onto biomarkers. Going back to the cigarettes. Epidemiology said it's bad for you. One day, people started discovering the things in cigarettes that actually triggered lung cancer. Now we have a what and a where and a why. Now we can put the warning label on the package of cigarettes. We need all of those dots to connect, and the same is true for these things. We have a lot of epidemiology that says these things are bad, and it's not just cancer, folks. It's infertility, it's asthma, it's a host of behavioral problems that your kids are going to experience in school that are really bad. Trust me, I know, I used to do that for a living, and you don't want a bunch of kids that don't have any visual memory. You can't teach kids like that. And that's the kind of thing these lines tend to affect. If you read the paper, you'll see that it's in there. And so I just want you to make sure that you understand those things when you go in there. And yes, sir.
Yeah, quick question. Could you define the acronym in that very first line, HVOPL?
Oh, high voltage overhead power lines.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry, I should have done that. Good question. And like I said, if you want to go into PubMed and do what I did, and anybody can do it, it's free. You paid for it already. It's just part of the National Institutes of Health. So you can go in there and look, but that's the term to use, high voltage overhead power lines. So I would like to leave you this. One of the main things I learned when I did the paper was I was listening to the frustration over the years, 30, 40 years of frustration of researchers saying, if we only had more people, we don't have enough people in these studies because nobody lives under these power lines, which is what they had to study. They started studying people who work in industry that exposes you to the same radiation, and their things started lighting up, and that's where the biomarkers come in. But they've only started doing that pretty recently. We don't have the numbers. We don't have the numbers. We don't have the numbers. Folks, if they string this thing through Stafford County the way it's been explained in here, researchers will have the numbers. We will become the guinea pigs that researchers have been looking for decades to find the biomarkers that cause the thing that epidemiology already tells us exists. So go read my paper. If you have any questions, get online. You'll find me. I'm always good for answering questions. I was a teacher for 42 years. I love questions. There is no such thing as a dumb question. So please ask questions, and I'm going to continue to work on this. Somebody gave me an article about the San Francisco 49ers blaming this substation for their poor performance. Well, I don't know so much about that, but it could be. It sent me to the research literature, and I found more things. Nothing that I found is going to help the 49ers season, however. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
I'm sure some of the rest of y'all have the privilege of driving up into Loudoun County, 34 corridor, Manassas, Waxpool Road, Sterling, and all these transmission lines that are so close to these neighborhoods. Isn't that kind of study already in process?
Well, yeah, but researchers need not tens of people or hundreds of people. They need thousands of people to make the statistics work. So I don't know. I can't address that, but they've not studied it there yet. They have. It's not been published. So, yes.
So what about worldwide? In other words, the more evidence you have to present your case.
Correct. Here's one other thing to tell you. Yes, worldwide, there is an awful lot of research going on. The most of it is not from this country. We don't study it here. I wonder why. Here's another thing I found out in my research, because I kept seeing this over and over again. Having done this for a long time, I always question, who sponsored this? Who's the one writing the check for this research? And one monograph that I came across, a guy spent forever studying this, and he came away with the following conclusion. If universities and foundations fund this thing, they get all kinds of stuff that's usable. If industry funds it, there ain't nothing to it. Perfectly safe. So you gotta remember it that way. It's who pays for it. Okay? I'm done. I'm more than done. I was only kidding about the drum solo. I'm handing it off to all of us, okay?
I have a quick question. For helpers, correct me if I'm wrong, but the path they clear, aren't they going to be spraying pesticides constantly to prevent the growth too?
Yeah.
That's one of the things you understand, that there's, where there are a lot of the paths is chemicals, to kill all the vegetation. So, I'll call to action. I'm going to post our earlier in the treasurer. A couple things we just want to bring attention, like we really like to what we do now. Stay informed. There's a lot of rhetoric out there, a lot of people saying a lot of things. We're trying to be the conduit of all things factual. And that's going to be very hard to do considering, how, there's a lot of stuff coming from different angles. We want to validate what is really the truth versus what people are saying. Thank you very much for that. Sign up for our email newsletter. We talked a little bit about that. It's on the townconcerns.com website. Join the committee. We talked a little bit about that. Attend and speak at Stafford County. I can reiterate that. We talked a lot about that. It really needs a lot of people showing up and speaking about this. So, and with that, I think our next one. So we have formed a few committees, public relations and communications. This group actually started off as the Communications and Public Relations Committee, and it's just morphed into being the board of directors as we progress in developing this organization. We need somebody in HOA and property owner outreach. We've been searching for Facebook accounts and knocking on doors and finding who's the HOA property management company. We've done a great job of contacting a couple of the key HOA property management companies, and they're really great at getting information out, but we don't have everything. Oh, sorry. I'm the one who gave you guys instructions and I didn't follow them. And then the other areas that we really need help into is within schools and PTOs. Surprising enough, there's been some messaging that some of the schools don't want to get involved. They want to stay neutral to this whole thing and not take a side on it, which is really scary. So if you do have, kids in schools, get to the PTO. On our website, you can contact us. They can contact us, and I monitor the mailbox as well as Jenny. and we're monitoring that all the time. We talked about the health committee, and again, the bottom line is it's our participation that's going to drive the decision. See if I've got anything else here. Okay, now it's your turn. I'm going to walk around the mic, raise your hand, give you the floor to speak. We'll try to answer any questions that you have, and if not.
Just real quick, I just want to bring Tammy up here.
Hi, I want to speak for the communication. Me, Pam, and Joanne, and all of us worked really hard these last couple of weeks because we don't have the numbers. When we met with the attorney on March 5th at Colonial Forge, he said, I need 3 times the number of people. So after last meeting, when Delegate Stacey Carroll came and helped us through the meeting, she had explained the bill, and she said, we need more people. So we stopped what we were doing and went door to door for the last couple of weeks. And I met
Literally door to door.
and I, of the most impacted, and I could shout out to Embry Mills, Hunter's Pond, Poplar Estates,
Amy Clay.
where'd we go? Winding Creek, yeah, Berkshire. We were all up and down the streets.
What about Shelton Run?
We were there. We got EMF readings
Yes,
from,
that's where we got our EMF.
that's where we got our EMF readings.
Y'all are in trouble.
But when we did this 20 years ago, does anybody remember 20 years ago when this happened? Same here. We were here and these lines were buried. And now they want to come back and put it overhead, 500 kV, possibly 230. And it broke my heart to tell people in Embry Mills that they're going above, because some didn't even know they had them buried. One guy said to me, I paid for this. I paid for this premium lot for these woods, and now you're telling me it's going to go away. And you hate to be the one. Andre had to tell a brand new neighbor in our neighborhood.
3 days after closing.
3 days after closing, by the way. So we have a lot of those stories out there. We need to hear them, and we need speakers on May 7th. If we're not heard, we don't want anybody to create our narrative. They said we couldn't do this 20 years ago, and we did. So we need a lot of help. We need your voices. We want to recommit to Stafford County Public Schools and PTOs, because 20 years ago, we had the school group. We had schools working with us and PTOs. We had a lot of help. And that's what we're just saying. We need help.
With that, I'll open the floor up. I got one question back here, and
I can talk loud. You don't need a
okay, don't need a microphone.
The mic's for the people at home.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry for Zoom. I apologize.
here, because she's picking up the mic.
I was just curious, you mentioned talking to the PTOs. What's the position of the school board? They're elected. Oh, I
We
need
have
to
two
hold
mics
I have
because we're
two
on
things.
Zoom.
Okay. I asked, what is the position of the school board? Because they're elected officials. Have they weighed in? Has anyone spoken to them? Because PTOs are great for numbers of people, but the school board should be concerned.
Yep.
Okay.
Hold on a second, hold on, got a microphone here. Well, hold on a second, got a mic over here. No.
I didn't want to speak, I wanted to come here as a private citizen, but if I hear something
No.
that's not true, I gotta speak up. That's just who I am right now. They want to be respectful, and they don't want to be politicized. And I gotta be honest with you, as citizens, everything that we care about, we citizens sometimes allow it to be politicized. And it's ugly. And they just don't want to be that. But we had, when I was on the school board, so this was probably October or November, we had the meeting come to us, and we were not neutral. We told them, we hate this, we do not want this, we don't support it, and school board members are supporting the efforts. They're just not at this meeting, or maybe they're not, but they came, some of them come to the town halls that the county is putting on. So maybe they haven't put out a physical statement, but they are not neutral, and when the time comes, I do expect. Take me to the website so I can open the. But you gotta get the numbers, you're absolutely right. And the reason why the PTOs don't want to weigh going in is because things get political and things get ugly, and it's their jobs. And I wouldn't want to put my job on the line if I actually need the money when things get ugly and they get blowback from their administrators or from the superintendent. So I hear what everyone's saying, but I think we just need to respect that some people don't make a lot of money and they actually need that job to keep paying for their families. So that's some of the reasons why the schools might insulate, but I would still talk to people who are on the PTOs to get them to open up to let you come in. So try.
Okay.
Oh, can I say one more thing? I'm so sorry. When you come to the Board of Supervisors, we don't just need 100 people to come. You need to have a real ask, and that ask has to be doable. So if 100 people come up and say, hey, we don't want this, don't let it come here, that's not a real ask. We don't have any power. We're lame ducks. There's nothing we can do. So if you want us to do something, research what we can do. We are doing things. You guys have paid for us to hire outside counsel, so we are following all of that timeline and stuff, but come with an ask. If you have a great idea, I can't think of one right now, but like, if you have a great idea and it seems feasible,
That's the
then, right, then tell us that. 100 people saying the same thing makes way more sense than just, we don't want it. So I'm just saying, I know civics 101, when you engage with elected officials, don't complain, have an ask. Because the complaint will hear you, oh, it feels great, but we ain't gonna do that.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Hey, Albert.
About some of the
Okay.
actions that we have, that we're gonna go in communities, people are worried about Buc-ee's, people are worried about.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has their own battle going on. We have Buc-ee's. I'm sorry, you don't mean to give you my bad. They're getting Buc-ee's, they're getting Powerline. We all have our own battles going on. It's just, we all need to support each other, that's all. As an organization, I think we're just a little, in all honesty, we're a little confused. We're hoping that May 7th will clarify some things, but we want to work with the board as a partnership in perhaps giving you all of our testimonies, giving you that, doing whatever we can for you all, but we need some sort of a communication. We haven't had that communication. Just wanted to add that in there. Anything else, anybody?
I was gonna say, does anybody like to speak?
I've got a microphone over here, Tammy.
Oh, I see.
Good, how you doing?
Waiting, basically.
Property value, our health, our kids, these are going to your schools.
I think she's talking about speaking it up.
Right.
SEC.
I see you. We'll text this.
We got a microphone
That's
here.
fine. It's okay. Yeah, we need to kind of figure out how to solve their problem. We got to have some sort of idea to, they want to go cheap as they can. We want to make it expensive for them to do that. And I've had these ideas that, they're trying to push this across the country, these modular nuclear power plants. Why can't we investigate that? That solves putting it under the ground, losing trees, and they can put up a bunch of little Dominion babies up there. And so we need to figure out that. Or put it through Quantico. There's lots of space there around the perimeter of there. I don't know about that, but we need to solve their problem best we can, and that's my idea. So, okay.
Great.
That's
Thank you.
just briefly, that's one of the things that somebody suggested at one of these meetings that we had, this is our that we had here, was the line to Quantico, which is a fantastic solution. It's a win-win. It's a win for Dominion because they can get their power straight from the east power station directly east, right across the south side of Quantico, where it doesn't affect anything. We've already looked at the maps. It doesn't affect any of the bombing areas or any of the shooting areas down there. They can easily take their 300 feet across, go straight across to Route 1 and make their connection for power. So as an alternate route, that gives us protection in Stafford County because it means that there are trees buffering us from that dangerous EMF radiation. It's a win-win for everybody. And so that's Towering concerns, if we get to the move stage, right, like we talked about that we want to kill the Kraken first.
Base
commander. We prefer to kill the Kraken, but if we can't kill the Kraken, then our next step is to move the Kraken. And we will be proposing, and we would like all of your help there, and let your neighbors know that we are trying to move the Kraken to Quantico.
Is Quantico okay with this?
So that's what we're trying to get, right? We've already talked to the planning commission. We know that the planning commission has reached out. We've pushed that proposal to the board of supervisors, so that's in their ear. I know that the board of supervisors met with Jenny Holgate, who is the director or the boss. I'm not military, y'all. She's the boss person of Quantico. I know that they met with the boss person at Quantico just last month. I asked Deontay Diggs if they had talked about moving Quantico or not, moving to Quantico or not. He did not respond, and maybe it's because it's, you know what I mean? Sometimes they can't respond to those questions.
I was in that meeting. If that's the meeting I was in, that did not come up.
Okay, all right, so that's the thing that we need to make sure is occurring with the board of supervisors, that they are.
No, I'll give you my number. I will make that call on Monday and I will answer you on Tuesday.
Girl, you're my best friend. All right. That's all win-win here, right? We really do feel in Stafford County, I'll just say this, right? I know this feels dire, okay? But we have options here in Stafford County that they do not have in Loudoun, right? We have the Quantico option, we have the legal fight with the abandoned easements. Once it's past 50 years, that's an abandoned easement, y'all. Okay, we're way past 50 years, okay? We're at 60 years, okay? So we have lots of options here in Stafford County. The other thing that we have that nobody else has is unity. There's one route through Stafford County. There's a little bit of squiggle down in the southeast part of this. But in Stafford County, it's one route. We don't have to fight with each other, right? We're on the same team with the data center fight, and we're on the same team together fighting against the Kraken. And unified, right? The Tim counted them all.
865.
The 9,000 homes who are within 1,000 feet of this, right? There's a lot of us, okay? There's hope here, right? We're going to do this. I will catch you in a second.
She's got a mic.
I got a mic.
Got a mic.
Hi, I live in the neighborhood where they are doing the upgrade to the 230 kilovolt line in the Centerport Parkway. And so they've been working on that in the last year, and my neighborhood is a real mess. They also are going to double the size of the substation. That'll be coming before the Planning Commission next month. So I just want you to know that my neighborhood, we were negotiating as much as we could with Dominion to get them to bury a portion of the line, because we have a small airstrip, and so that tall 230 kilovolt line, what they did was they cut it in half and they made it double wide. So they refused to bury just 100 feet in my neighborhood.
You're
So,
on 1, right?
yeah, I'm on Highway 1.
Right, okay.
Right, I'm on Highway 1.
Figure out what you're talking about.
Yeah. So it's Highway 1 in Lay Hill. And so that 230 kV line is going up to Centerport to support the STC data centers. So just letting you know that we were unsuccessful in getting them to be reasonable with us. And it is a huge mess in our neighborhood. And I know my guy's in Aquia, but for the Falmouth supervisor, Meg Bompey got a lot of calls about the mess that Dominion's made, and they've totally torn up roads. So I want you to know about that. Also, speaking before the Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors, I do that a lot. And they do listen. They really are supportive, and I want you to know that at 5 p.m. on this Wednesday, that the planning supervisors the Planning Commission is going to be in a closed meeting where they are going to be told about this new upcoming revision to the comp plan that has been recommended, so that it'll make it harder for Dominion. So I want you to know that everybody is working to make it harder for Dominion, and I really appreciate it. I'm glad I'm here to hear what you're doing, but I want you to know that Dominion has their claws in us, and it's going to take all of us standing together, because if we don't stop the data centers in Stafford County, the ones that don't belong, because there are some of them that is reasonable, but many of them are unreasonable. And so if we can't stop those, then Dominion is going to go take those load letters and say, hey, I have a reason, I need this from the SEC. And then even though they say they're not serving our area with this, they will use it against us. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Hey, Bea, let me go to this side of the room over here. Oh, you got a mic here? Here's the other microphone. We have two mics.
All right. Afternoon, everybody. My name's Brian Hampton.
Put it closer to your mouth.
Okay. My name's Brian Hampton, and this Kraken fight, if we go back to a slide where you had 9,000 homes affected, my family and I, we came from California. One of the issues I'm having when you go to that number, two things, we actually need to pinpoint that we're not going to get 9,000 people caring about this effort. I would say, let's, like they say, tighten up your shot group. The 800 and some homes on that line, we actually need them here in this fight. My house is one of those homes. Yes, so my house is one of those homes. We have a little over 4 acres, and it's going to take almost the whole entire 4 acres. Even the fence where our backyard is, it comes right through that. When we came here, this home that we purchased was our home for our son and our daughter. Like, this is it forever. But these times and these reasons, or what's about to happen, or trying to happen, we actually need more people in the fight. I know other counties and everything else, again, this is numbers. The 9,300 people or homes is affected, that's unachievable, okay? I'm just gonna be, from my point of view, from my logic. The 800 and some homes in this county, the other homes, that's the lines, we need them to come to our meetings. We need them because it's coming through their backyard. If we could do that and reach out, it's more achievable than trying to reach every community. I live in Seven Lakes, and what we got? Probably less than 1%. So
Maybe I could address the 865 homes. So the 865 homes, we've actually targeted them with door knockers or door.
We passed those out, sir.
Yeah.
We're on your team.
Okay.
We've been passing them out. We went to the school yesterday.
Target with the 865 first, and knowing that there's 9,000 other homes that are impacted by this. But you're right. You're absolutely right. That's where our focus has been this past 2 weeks, was knocking on the doors of those 865 homes and putting door hangers on there and say, come out to this meeting. This is going to definitely impact your house and your neighborhood.
Last night we went to Margaret Branch, their thing for the kids. The annual carnival. A lot of the parents didn't understand or even know that it's going to affect Mountain View, the high school, and Margaret Branch. So the point is that, yes, I think everybody's on the same page, but we're not on the same team. Okay? A group here, Towering Concerns, yes, we as community and everything else, we need this. We want this. The delegates that we are paying are elected, we need them. We want this. We actually need to figure out who's down the other counties, their houses. We all need to come together in one central location or have one central means of communication, because the fight is bigger than us. Unfortunately, we did this. I wasn't here 20 years ago. But you're only pushing this down to my son and my daughter if we don't do it right this time. And here's my wife. She has some things she wanted to add.
Go ahead.
We don't want to have something too. Right? And I think I'll just speak just very briefly about how we're addressing that. I know some of y'all are coming in new, right? Coming in hot. One of the things that we're addressing relating to the future is we approached Delegate Carroll and we approached Senator Durant about legislation to specifically put on the books that any easement in Virginia that's older than 50 years, and in fact we've actually put 25 years, is automatically dropped. And the reason we did that is because 11 of the properties that were seized for the original Towering Concerns project were seized through eminent domain. And listen, it ought to be that if you're going to seize something through eminent domain, the need ought to be imminent. Right? And 25 years is way generous there. Do you know what I mean? Certainly 50 years is absurd and ridiculous. things that we proposed 3 other pieces of legislation that relate to HUD rules. We don't have time to get into that here today, but HUD rules that relate to how power lines fall. And then we came up with a fourth suggestion for legislation this week. After we read the legislation that exists for HUD rules for multifamily properties and single-family properties. It turns out that apartment complexes have more protection than single-family homes. I think that's probably a mistake in the law. And so that's something we're going to take to Representative Vindman and see if we can get something changed on the federal level to offer more protection. Not only, and these laws have the potential to protect not only Stafford County and our residents in the future, but other people in the Commonwealth and hopefully in the country from this absurdity that's happening as a result of these data centers. Sorry, ma'am.
Yes, hi. I'm sorry. May I please let my son say something before he gets, what are you gonna say?
I forgot what I was gonna say.
Okay, then you have nothing to say. Okay. Okay, so I just had a couple of notes that I wanted to point out. First off, thank you to the Towering Concerns for bringing this meeting together. Thank you, Tammy, for bringing this to our doorstep. So a few things. The flyers. Let's be honest, we are bombarded with all kinds of information circling us 50,000 different directions, whether it's social media, mailing, inserts, I mean, you name it, we're getting slapped in the face. So I would actually probably suggest that the flyers would be more impactful, if that would make sense. Because honestly, I'll be honest, I passed them out, and if I received this, I probably would not really have paid much attention to it. So probably keywords such as, are you on an easement, or your easement is affected, not, this could impact you. I know we're trying to reach the broad, but if we're trying to pinpoint and target, let it be known this is literally affecting you. So I'm not sure who's over the flyer design. Just a note.
We don't take offense.
just a note. The next question probably isn't for this team. It's probably for the board of this organization to take to the Stafford Board of Supervisors, which you stated are very.
And we want to add something. We are it. We are it.
Okay.
Nobody else. So that's why we need you guys' help. We need you desperately. We need help.
But you're communicating with the Board of Staff, right? And you said that they've been. To represent us in the schools. So what my question for them would be, if you could take it back to them, is let's just say hypothetically, we know we want them to reroute or decline SCC, but in the event that they don't, is the Board of Supervisors willing to appeal and take it to the Supreme Court? That's a question for them. That's a question for them, okay?
It's really a question for the county, because the county needs to decide if y'all want to pay that bill. It's costing us a tremendous amount of money. Every time we forward an email to the lawyers, that costs us hundreds of dollars. One email. Do y'all want to pay that? Because all I hear is don't raise our taxes. And unfortunately, we don't have any commercial development to pay to live, right? So that's a question that the board will then ask on the dais, but y'all got to tell us. You got to come to the meetings and then say, yep, pay that bill. We're ready to spend $100,000 or $1 million to fight this, right? Because honestly, we're already in the thousands of thousands. I don't want to say something and be wrong. I think we're under 100,000, but it's close. You get what I'm saying? We have to decide as a community.
As of December, I'll just tell you, I saw this information just a few days ago. Already they paid $50,000 to the attorney that they hired. They've allotted $200,000 for the attorney. So that's where we are right now. But anyway, like I said, the board is putting money behind it, and which we really appreciate because we understand that the budget is in serious problem right now. And so we recognize that means that the Board of Supervisors recognizes that this is also a serious problem. So we appreciate what's happening up there. Sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. I have to ask. I'm new. Are you on the Board of Supervisors?
Yes,
Are
I'm
you?
the vice chair.
Okay, got it. Okay. Not the Stafford School County Board, but the actual Board of Supervisors. Yeah, because at first I thought you.
Private citizen got started.
Yeah, we went through that too.
Okay, thank you. The next question that I have but probably be actually for Dominion because they're banking on this. But I can say since I've lived here for the last almost 3 years, no, actually we hit 3 years, Quantico's Corps of Engineers bombing shakes our house to like no return. Are they taking into effect or account that that will probably affect these towers? Probably not.
So far, I mean, I can tell you that the particular type of structure that they're talking about building monopole, is that what you're asking, like, if could they do building in Quantico, right? Is that safe?
No. This area, Quantico, we feel the effects of them bombing. And sometimes it shakes our house, like literally feels like it's an earthquake. I'm a Cali girl. I know what an earthquake is. If like it shakes, it's going to affect those towers over time.
So what I can tell you is that in Chino Valley Hills, in California, this is on our website, I have the entire trial information and some links to their information there. In Chino Valley Hills, California, they succeeded in getting a 500 kilovolt power line ferried through their town. And one of the considerations was the fact that they were in an earthquake zone. So are we. Okay, so many of you were here when the mineral earthquake hit, right? So that's a further argument for undergrounding, right? So that's, you know, we've been trying to collect information so that you are on track. I'm just saying that, yeah, that is a consideration for undergrounding. Now in California, they don't have wetlands, right? We have wetlands. So that's another consideration.
Depends on what part of Cali you're in.
Undergrounding is, so far, that power
Yeah.
line has been around for over 10 years and has 0 failures. In fact, I heard from a gentleman at our last meeting that the 230 kilovolt line that Tammy personally cost here 20 years ago also has not had a failure. And so that's something about undergrounding is that they're pretty safe and, pretty well protected. This area is in a particularly dangerous location for bombing. That's another issue related to the data centers. That makes us a target, right? Blow up a data center and knock out, national security interests. Again, I'm not military, right? But power lines are also at risk in that security infrastructure. The more that we have that type of infrastructure in Stafford County, when we're adjacent to one of those, the more we are a target.
Last comment is, the next question is, considering the fact that these easements, my house is on an easement, considering the fact that these easements were established back in 1966, according to our actual deed, with a different intent, and when we purchased our home, it was imagined that it was abandoned. In the event that the SEC declines the movement of the Kraken line, are we willing to try to fight or figure out how to get possession back of our land?
So buying it back is probably not reasonable for this type of thing, right? Because I don't think we could buy it back, right? I can tell you that like on my easement, I think we got $16,000 for the 335 half-mile strip that goes through my farm. Do you know what I mean? I would pay them today $16,000 if they would go away, right? But I don't think that's going to be a reasonable option as far as buying it back. That's why we're proposing the legislation to try to have the easements declared abandoned because it's been a long time. The other issue with the easement is, I lost my train of thought.
I can add something.
Please.
The thing is, these easements were purchased where there was nothing here. They were just farms, or just wood. Now, this area is not developed. And they tried to get their easement back. But the condition of the easement, the same like it was purchased. So in 1966, there was nothing. Now they try to get our land that the builders used for their discretion. They made their money, they got paid, and now we're gonna pay the final difference. This is what, it's, for us, we cannot understand how this can happen. And I can zoom it in, and you can see, I'm just gonna zoom it in on this house, for example, right? This is our neighbor. I went 3 days after he purchased the house.
Hey, Andre, explain what the green line is and what the purple lines are up there, just for everybody who hasn't spent as much time.
Left, right? They're gonna cut 120 feet of space in order to get this line, which is gonna be the new power line. Or power lines. They didn't say anything about second because they do. Another issue that we have, nobody tells us anything. They're trying to keep us away from any information possible because I believe, my personal opinion is that they don't want us to use that information against them. He bought this house because he said, this is my dream house, this is my place where I want it to be. This land, all this wood is gonna be cut out. So he's gonna get left with the house and a bunch of poles and wires in the back of his house.
Not to interrupt, this is the easement, the blue dotted lines, these are the power lines. These are just leftover property lines because they, not expertly.
So what I read in one area is that all of these lines, all of these properties are gonna have a visual to the power lines.
Which means EMF radiation, by the way, that's direct. The thing that stops EMF radiation, and Tom can correct me, right, is structures and buildings, right? And that's according to Dominion's website. So when you have line of sight, you have EMF coming at you.
And I forgot to mention this to my board, but I have a friend that works for a big gas company. It's a big gas company. He's an engineer there. So he said they need to give proof that their gas lines, they got to cross multiple locations where the gas lines are not affected by EMF. So they need to do that in order to have an approval from SEC. Because they're going to deny the gas company. Well, I'll talk to you about that. So this is going to be the easement that's going to be cut. Once they're going to be here, they might come and do another line in 5 years. This is right here. I'm going back to Blackwell. This is the Rodney Thompson, right? This is the softball field, 1, 2. This is where the kids are playing. I was at my son's school yesterday. Oh, the day before yesterday for the community, for the meets, for the track. It was full of kids, full of people. This is gonna disappear because the line is gonna come right here, the ground line.
Where's the already buried ones?
The bare ones are right here.
So that was my point. This is not an abandoned line.
Right?
So I keep hearing the term abandoned line.
It is. There's an east lane.
It's not abandoned.
There's
There's
an
a
east
line.
lane.
On
This
that
line.
segment, okay, there are multiple segments.
Okay.
After the mountain view, which is west, I mean, if Andre will keep coming
Yes,
west.
I'm coming down to the substation
So
where it's
once
gonna
you get
stop.
to this substation, okay, that purple, that brown line is the buried line. This green line is the proposed line. So everything west of the Garrisonville substation is new. Okay, so that's where we have our argument about the easement being abandoned. Not only that, again, when you allow something, this is okay. Yeah, when you allow something to be encroached into your easement, as Dominion has done with, as you can see, Mountain View High School track, with the park, with the tot lot, with Rodney Thompson softball field. When you do that, there's a legal argument that you've abandoned an easement. And so that is part of this. Now when I talked with an attorney about this, and the attorney's not in this room, just so you know. When I talked with an attorney about that, the attorney told me that this is kind of new law. That if we went to court and argued this, it would be pretty innovative, right? To go and argue for these things that hasn't really been established. Nobody's really fought this all the way to the Supreme Court. So this could be a really major fight, you know what I mean? Something that could really affect the United States. But what we hope would happen is, as you pointed out, we want to make this expensive, right, for Dominion. And if this starts to be an expensive fight and they're going, you know what, the Kraken is just redundancy route anyway, you know what, we don't want to fight them all the way to the Supreme Court to try to talk about easement abandonment and break new law in this United States for a 5-mile stretch of line that's just redundancy. We'll just peace out. right? But we want to have those arguments ready. We want to have and we want you to be educated so that you can make those arguments to our local government, to state legislators, to everybody, all of your neighbors, right? So that you can also fight the good fight.
How many people are on your line here today?
You are too, Daddy.
Raise your hand, Daddy. Have you all looked at the geo map that we have up, and you know where your property is and your easements? I'm gonna get to do a triple total of Boston Power in my pool.
Let me add this. So this is the geo map, and I learned that they need to provide us a future map. The Dominion needs to provide this as a study for future lines, and they need to provide it to the public. So this is what they need to give us because we need to be informed. Now, again, this segment right here is the segment with the buried lines, right? The brown one. The green one, there is no lines whatsoever. On the brown one, the buried lines is just an empty strip of land, which it can be still used and is not having that much of an impact. But over this buried power lines, they gotta do 2 more power lines on poles. And they gotta continue that throughout this sector, and they gotta cut all of those easements where nothing was done ever before. And they gotta put the power lines. So the whole strip is gonna be affected by huge power lines. 2 lines.
Hey, we have a question over here.
You've kind of addressed a little bit of what I was going to ask you about. If a neighbor happens to ask, well, how close is it to my property? Is there a layman's friendly diagram besides having to have some map reading skills to really kind of tell? I mean, I can tell behind my house, we see the swath. But I know that not everybody has that mown swath. Yeah, we've looked at the map.
So we can't measure every individual property, but there is a measuring tool, and I think that's what he's gonna demonstrate.
Okay.
It'll show you exactly the distance.
There's a measurement tool on the map. All right, you all know where I live now. So here is, this is Mountain View High School over here. This is Mountain View High School over here. And this is my home. There is a measure option if you click these little 3 buttons right here. Go to measure, and then it's always real finicky. You can't really click on the line because it'll mess it up, but you can go there. It's going to be that finicky. Just take here. Sorry, I was told wrong. There's 365 feet. It's probably a lot less. I know from here to here is 300 feet. This is my mother's home. This is my home. My father, he passed away about 2 months ago, and one of the last things he said is make sure you protect your mother.
So are you saying that on that map, there are directions for if somebody who's not a map reader, who just lives somewhere and needs to know, well, we need to explain how important this is? That, because sometimes I think people really need to be able to walk to the edge of their property and see how close that is, or. Absolutely, and it doesn't make meaning for a lot of people because it seems very abstract.
That's intentional, and I believe that's also why many of us were not notified, do you know what I mean? They don't want the fight, do you know what I mean? So we're gonna bring it.
Well, I remember when I purchased the lot that I built my home on, I went online to check to see what kind of things were going to be built around, and I saw where there was going to be another additional entrance to my subdivision that they had not approved, and I felt really good about the amount of research I did before, but this was nowhere to be seen. So I know a lot of people buy their homes, have no idea, and just take comfort in thinking, the builder's going to tell me, or I can look and find the information, and it's not there. So anything that can make it very user-friendly to just that person who is not a map reader or who doesn't have the time to do all the research to make it meaningful to them is very important. So I appreciate
I want
it.
to add something real quick. All this barcode, we make it for different areas that we need. So the first one takes the map. Second one takes you to our website, third one has data.
Yeah,
Take
you okay?
to the web, Facebook, channel, and the last one is for information. So there are 4 bars that you can use on your discussion on the flyer. Yeah, we have more flyers on the table in the back, on both tables in the back.
2 mics. We have a question over here.
I just want to ask, is anybody here from Embry Mill? Okay. Close enough, yeah. Okay, I was just seeing if any of my neighbors were here. I know I put a couple things on the Facebook page and not sure, I know you guys have walked it and thank you, but I think those folks, as we've said before, try to rile them up and get them. But to the Protect Stafford's point, if you haven't been to Loudoun and to see the data centers, I mean, that's where we're doing the Power 4. It's earth shattering. I mean, if you haven't driven out there and taken a look after data center, it really does make a big impact. And today, they may be power lines, as we've said, for Loudoun. Tomorrow, there are going to be more power lines needed for Stafford as we continue to do this. Virginia, for those of you who don't know, Virginia is the #1 state in the entire world, for data centers, and why we continue to allow them in this state and as it impacts county after county is mind-blowing. Sometimes you have to go to the root of the cause of the issue and stop that to get everything else to be stopped, and that's really where we need to be. And I'll just say one other thing. Supervisor Guy, thank you for being here. I know you're here as a private citizen, but thank you. I think it's important for our Board of Supervisors to know what's really going on and in the mind of their constituents. I will also say this, though, is I understand the school board may not want to get involved because something political, or other folks may not want to get involved. Understand as they tear up tracks and they tear up playgrounds and all the things that are happening, whether it's in your community directly or whether it's our schools and our children and the health of them, somebody will pay to put on other activities. And who pays? Us as the taxpayer. Who pays to move the playground in your neighborhood? You do in an HOA fee. So this impacts all of us here in Stafford, and we need to rise up.
We're going to stop presenting as a board and just let you all ask questions. She's going to be next. She's been waiting for a long time. We're sorry. We talk a lot. This is the last thing we're going to say. So this is a full. This is the full map of all the power lines. This is Stafford. This is the north end of the Bristers, aka the Kraken. I think they did that on purpose just to mess us up. But anyhow, okay. So these are all data centers in Loudoun County. What they're doing is they're transferring power around up through here to here, and they're powering all these data centers. Some of these are approved, some of these are proposed. These are the data centers that have been proposed or approved in Stafford. So that's what they're doing here. It does not serve us as a community. And we'll quit talking so much and let y'all.
Hi, Connie Barrow, also a volunteer at Protect Stafford. I want to make sure and say thank you to Jenny for your leadership on this. I've been one to see this as it's evolved from the early stages. I was one who did the walking around from Hampton Oaks to Seven Lakes prior to the Dominion meeting, the first public meeting over at the Runyon. And it was really, really difficult to see no one that I met with or talked to had any idea. And then at that public meeting, how many of you were there at the public meeting? I think that most of us would say that that was intentionally a not uninforming experience. and totally meant to be discombobulating by the time that you left. And I think it's extremely important. I appreciate our county leader that is here as a private citizen. But I think it's extremely important for our representatives to understand what citizens are going through. There's multiple layers of stress and crisis at the very foundation in terms of their property and their legacy. Number one, I have a question. I always think money is the main talker of anything. It's just the reality. And you've specified that there's 10% reduction in property values. You have 874 homes that are directly over. You have the potential of at least 9,000 that will be impacted. All of that is the dollar bill, and that is tax revenue. Okay, those are property taxes. And they are also going to impact schools' ratings, right? Because people have choices as to where they live and where they go to school. And that is an incredible power number that needs to be figured out very quickly so that people understand it's not the cost to the county as much as what it will cost the county if this goes through. 200,000 is nothing compared to what the property values. I know from having walked over at Seven Lakes, there were, I counted, I saw the line. Many of the people were too busy to talk. Maybe the flyer wasn't as interesting or not. It was what we had at that time. But 34 residents, some of them with the lake behind their home, having the line go right over it. And so there's a lot of impact here. So I think we need the dollar numbers for the very closest and for the larger. The other piece of this, the question that I thought you started to talk about, but I don't know if you're getting at, what is the safety involved that knowing that there is, and Tammy, you probably, I don't know where you are, that knowing that there is a line buried, are they intending to put lines on top with the line buried? Anyone who knows, I would be very concerned that somebody misses where the line goes and ends up having some major crises. So there's potential, we need to get information on what the risk is to life and to property if something goes wrong in that process, if that is where they indeed, because that would stop. It may be that, because I don't think the SEC is going to be the final, even if they approve it. So these are things that you have to figure contingencies and you have to start figuring
I
out
have the answer, just real
analysis. Yeah, and that's all I have to say, but thank you.
The buried lines are here. This one, right? This is their outlet that are gonna be gone. The power lines are gonna come on this sector here, and they gotta cut the hole with the area.
But they have to put all the equipment somewhere as they're building. And so,
What I'm
yeah,
saying,
it's
this
going to be a
is
disaster.
smaller impact. This is gonna be a way greater impact over the power lines.
Yeah.
So this is not gonna go anywhere. And I'm pretty sure they're not gonna be allowed to drive over, so they're gonna drive over this land.
So it's going to be in
this
people's
land,
property.
all of this.
Yeah. The only last thing I will say, and Julia, raise your hand because you are a prime person as far as what I'm about to say. Canvassing is the key. You can do anything online, but you need to have face-to-face because it takes more than a piece of paper. It takes more than a sticky note on a piece of paper. But you have to go and talk to the people that you know are impacted. And to the extent it doesn't happen just one time, it has to happen multiple times. Also go to the 610 commuter lot because people are extremely busy and a lot of people don't know what's going on in their hometown because they're never home. Okay, thank you.
And we're trying to do everything we can as a small committee We're going to events, we're walking door to door, but we need more people in the communications committee, period. If we want to be successful, we're going to need your help. Any hands? You've been raised. Here you go. Sorry. Her and then her next.
I just wanted to ask a question for you all. Oh, sorry. If the lines actually get buried, so I'm in Hunter's Pond and I can do a triple toe loop off the tower into my pool. It's going to be that close. All right. It's going to take my whole lawn, my whole backyard. If it gets buried, are we still going to have use of our property? Or are we not going to have, or are they going to continue to clear it and maintain? Are they going to come in and maintain?
I can answer this. We went over to the park in Shelton's Run, and it seemed like it was, you could just walk right over it. They had little survey markers up where the lines were at, but you couldn't tell. The only way you could tell, we had an EMF detector, and we put it up here, and then as we slowly went to the ground, it just started doing the avoid alert.
But
well, it's not safe to be in that area.
Right. But they tend on still clearing, but would allow us to use our property?
I would assume.
Not that I would, so that's the second point. I'm so thankful that there's other options like burying, but to be quite honest with you, I hope that people, Facebook or wherever, hear this. There are some families that this is going to create a hardship.
Yes.
And we are going to be forced to move because we have a child with full profound disability and cannot be around these voltage lines, just the hissing. All right, so we are going to lose our home that we were going to retire in. We're going to be forced to move, more than likely take less money for our home because we're going to have a tower in our backyard that we can swim with. So please, personal testimonies of hardship move the heart of the King. So please come and bring your heart. Think about it. If this goes up in your back lawn, what is this going to do for me and my family? Actually think about it and bring your words, because voices move people. So I just wanted to put a plea out because the hardships are real.
Thank you so much. I got you. There, sure. She's been waiting for a while. There's a testimony list going around. Did we find that? No, a speaker list. There should be a speaker list. We had it going around.
It's right down and back up.
Okay. Yeah, this is it. Yep. Thank you. Sorry. There you go. We're going to keep passing this around. If you like to speak or give your testimony, please. Everybody's had it so far? Okay. Here you go, man. Sorry for the wait.
So burying is not our number one.
No, because we're still gonna dig up.
If the Kraken must come, our favorite route is Quantico, right? And so I think as a group, if it becomes apparent that they do fight, right? What we're trying to do is put information out that discourages Dominion from ever filing, right? We don't want them, you know what I mean? We don't want the legal fight. We would rather team up with Dominion and join with them, partner with Dominion to go to Quantico. I would rather take all of you and all of us start banging on the door of Jenny Colgate and saying, please, ma'am, let us take this power, save from Stafford, and put this power line to the south side of Quantico after you've already stolen all our lands through eminent domain, which includes my family's property. We've been here a long time. Do you see what I mean? Historically, I think that matters. When Quantico was taken from Stafford County through eminent domain processes, we're talking about cemeteries and family property that have been in homes for many, many years. How fitting would it be for Quantico to turn around and save us now, right? Save us now after that problem. So that's what we're looking for. That's going to be our number one push if they file a crack. Yes, sir.
And he said, well, Greg, look at this right here, we're talking about building a line, in fact, literally outside of our bathroom. Yes. So it's an eyesore, as you're looking at my father-in-law, we're walking around the property, this is what, you got getting, this is what it looks like, these are the plans, and we have 3 young sons that, one day, of course, we plan on giving to our sons.
20 years ago about that. They left, my dad has just passed, left us the house and the land is, over 7 acres and it's literally, there's a little small line of trees that would go, there's a huge bay window that's like right in my bathroom. No privacy, that's gonna go right through our land.
All these trees are gonna be up.
Yeah, this is something we were planning on leaving our children, no intentions of moving it or giving it or selling it or any of that.
And that's the beauty of living in a settled place. I can see my neighbor, but not see my neighbor.
Yeah.
I can enjoy my acreage. I can say hi to you as I'm walking down the street, but I don't gotta say hi to you as I'm on my back deck when I'm trying to take a shower. That's the beauty of where we live at. And we have our boys go to Mountain View and, run on the track. So now you're taking away an activity from the children that we tell the kids, be healthy, but now we're gonna take away your activities to be healthy.
Exactly.
When you play baseball, it's like, yeah, it's important to that we come and continue, not to take.
Thank you very much. We're going to have one more last question and then our concluding statements.
Hi, my name is Joanne Miller and I'm with Shelton Run. I came to my first meeting with Towering Concerns a month ago, and Tammy stood up and said, we really need a representative for each of the many communities who are affected. And I said, well, I could be one. So I've been working in Shelton Run. I have my neighbors involved. We've been knocking on doors, making copies of flyers, getting people involved. Everyone in this room agrees we need to reach more people. We need to get more people involved. We need to get more people at these meetings. The best way to do that is to knock on doors and hand out these fabulous new flyers to make sure that people know what's going on, they're educated, they're involved, they're speaking up, they're fighting, but that will only happen if everyone here is involved and we get more people involved. Thank you.
All right, everyone. We will not sacrifice our homes, our schools, our health for ultimately data centers in other counties. This does not serve a purpose for our community, and we are going to do everything that we can to make sure it stops. This is going to conclude our meeting. Thank you. There's a speaker list over here, committee list. Please, we need volunteers. We need more people. We need people to help and support us. Thank you.
Austin Ridge, yay!